Hey, everybody. Sorry for that. I started a little bit late. Forgot to hit the go live button. Happy Wednesday. It's another episode of Mr. Cashflow Live. These weekly broadcasts are designed to help you increase your business or your practice's cash flow and introduce you to some great people and subject matter experts that can help you. And today I've got a good one for you. Today we're talking to our dental community and I think you're going to really appreciate this. The recorded version of this live stream will be on the Cashflow Strategies YouTube channel. If you'd like to be notified when we go live, just subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell, and it will notify you whenever we go live with another episode of Mr. Cashflow Live. Feel free to ask questions as we go along, and we'll try to answer them live if we don't get to them, or if you're watching the recorded version of this webinar, then just feel free to enter the questions and we will get it back to you just as quickly as we can. Again, like I said, we're talking to our friends and clients in the dental world. We're talking about growing your dental practice, something that everybody's looking to do pretty much these days, and making your practice the most trusted practice in town. My guest today is Stuart Faught, founder and CEO of Praze, which is a dental trust platform. You can't afford to discount the impact that reviews have on your practice and their ability to attract new patients and establish trust. Pete and I had a talk on the phone not too terribly long ago, and we talked about Praze and what they were doing, and immediately knew that I needed to introduce him to my friends and to my clients in the dental world. So, Pete, welcome to Mr. Cashflow Live. We're glad to have you with us.
David, good to be here, man. Good to be here.
This is something that I think from the day we first talked, I knew we needed to do. Before we get into any particular questions about building trust and doing those kinds of things, let's get to know you a little bit better. So where are you originally from, and how did you get involved in doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I am based in Southern California, a place called Thousand Oaks. And I actually went to school out in Utah, and my plan was to get into real estate, and right around graduation, it was 2008, the time when
not a good time.
Yeah, that time, weird time to get into real estate, and needed a job. I ended up having a friend of mine, a neighbor that worked over at Dentrix, the dental software company.
Sure.
And so ended up working at Dentrix for a couple of years, and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of liking this dental space. I just saw a lot of opportunity for growth and innovation in the area. And when I started looking around for my next opportunity after I was there for a couple of years, I started hearing a bunch about SEO, back when that was a new thing, search engine optimization. And so around 2010, I ended up starting my own little SEO company for dentists. And from that experience, David, quickly learned that really what was getting a patient from the internet into the chair were those doctors who had the most and best reviews. And so this was a while back. This was before, anyone was really helping dental practices get reviews. And so I pivoted my SEO company and started the first dental software company, helping dental practices get reviews. And, so the last 10 years or so, that's been my niche, and over 10 years, we've tried every which way to help a dental practice specifically get reviews, build trust, and hopefully eventually become like the go-to dentist in their town.
Fantastic. I mean, I know when I look on the internet for whatever it is I'm looking at, the first thing I look at is reviews. Totally. I want somebody who other people trust so that I know that I can trust them as well. It's huge. And I've been doing it for my own business, specifically asking for reviews from some of my clients. And it's amazing the amount of difference it makes in the calls that I get and different things. So important. So, you make a big claim about becoming the most trusted dentist in town. We definitely need trusted dentists.
Yeah,
I've been to good ones, I've been to bad ones. Of course, all of my clients are the best dentist in their town, but the people out there may not know it. So how does a dentist or an oral surgeon become the most trusted in town?
Yeah, so back down to what you were saying about reviews. Everyone doesn't write reviews, but certainly everyone reads reviews. And so, yeah, they're a crucial thing, even for, say, the specialists like your oral surgeon. I know you work with a handful of oral surgeons. And, I'll talk with specialists a lot, and they'll be like, oh, well, you know what? I get a lot of patients from our referral partners, the general dentists. But, we like to remind them that, even if my general dentist, says, hey, go to Dr. Dan for, my oral surgery needs, the first thing I'm going to do is look up their reviews and make sure they're legit. And if I see another office that has better reviews, I'm going to go to them, even though my general dentist referred me to that person. So anyways, yeah, as far as becoming the most trusted dentist in your town, that's kind of our whole goal with each practice we work with, David. We feel like we have a clear opportunity and path to doing that. If every practice we work with, we help them just simply get the most and best positive, authentic, real reviews on Google specifically. And years ago, I was working with a prominent dental consultant, and it was interesting. I kind of had one of those light bulb moments. He was like, Stuart, I've worked with a ton of practices, and the one thing that the most profitable practices, they all had in common, they all had one thing. And I was like, okay, teach me the ways, what was that one thing? And they're like, he was like, they all have 300 or more positive testimonials. And that was sort of as reviews were just becoming a thing. And I thought, well, the most important review site by far is Google. And that was 10 years ago, and it's even more so today. And so, that'd be awesome if we can help every practice we work with get 300 reviews on Google. And that's what our whole program and software is based on.
In your own experience and in your own opinion, Google reviews versus a great website, which is going to be better for you?
Yeah, I think both are super important, but I would say by far it's most important for a practice to have positive reviews on Google. And I always tell the practices we work with, and as we start to work with them, we do a quick analysis of, okay, who's our local competition? How many reviews does this practice have? How many reviews does this practice have? And how many reviews do we have? How many negative reviews? How many positive reviews? And then we set our trajectory of our goal over the next 24 months, typically is kind of what we look into the future of. And we come up with a realistic plan on how to literally get the most and best positive, real, authentic reviews. And it's always a little surprising, David, because, our doctors are so busy working, and practicing dentistry. They don't have time for this, nor do they have the expertise in this particular area. But yet it's so important. And we love what we do, man. It works very well.
Because I know people hesitate asking people for reviews. I also know that you can get in a little bit of trouble with Google if you specifically ask people for like 5-star reviews, So there's got to be some technique behind it, and it's got to be in a way where your call reluctance in trying to ask for reviews isn't going to come into play. So how do the dentists go about getting these reviews?
Sure. And like I mentioned, we've tried every which way, to help a dental practice get reviews, and we keep going back to the simple fact that if we make it really, really easy for a patient while they're in the office to leave a review, they'll do it. If we ask them to go home, or even if we automate some sort of text or email after their appointment, they're probably not going to do it. And so, David, with our platform and system, it's a little bit different than what's out there. When a patient checks into the office, they get a welcome text from our software, and it'll basically say, David, welcome to ABC Dental. We're working on building our reviews. We hope you have a good experience. If you do, please consider leaving us a review here. Boom. And there's a link to leave a review. And typically, the patient is on his or her phone for the first 15, 20 minutes waiting for their appointment in the front office anyways. And so it's an amazing opportunity to capture that positive review from a patient while they're there. And so that's kind of the first touch. We also will put up around the office these little signs. Typically, we'll put one at each operatory, and the signs will simply say, ask how you can get a free pack of gum. And so Patient gets a text message. They may or may not have done the review in the front office. They go sit down in the chair, and it's like, hey, Pam, what's up with these gum signs? How do I get a pack of gum? And then it's a non-awkward, easy conversation starter to talk about reviews. And then, the doctor, the staff would simply say something like, oh, we're working on building our reviews. You probably got a text when you checked in. If you can, click the link, write us a quick review, and as a small thanks for your feedback, we'll give you a pack of gum, and we really appreciate it, type thing. And
knowing the guys that I work with, it better be sugar-free gum.
It is definitely. But yeah, those simple 2 steps right there. And then if for whatever reason the patient didn't leave a review while they're in the office, they get an after visit email saying, hey, hope you had a great experience. Click here to leave a review. Click here if your experience wasn't great. And then we kind of take those negative patients and we push them to a private feedback page, so the doctor can reach out to that person and make sure
that's great.
Whatever happened is made right.
So you're not asking specifically for good reviews, but you're telling them what to do other than that if they had a bad experience, which is great. Because exactly. A bad review can kill you, right?
It can absolutely kill you, and it's crazy how often it does. And the doctor might not even know about it for years. For example, yesterday, we signed up a practice locally, where we live, and the doctor had a past employee, and this is pretty common. Past employee, disgruntled employee, write a really terrible, personally negative review about the doctor. And since that doctor didn't have very many reviews, it really affected the overall star rating. And so she ended up giving us a call, and we're setting her up with the software. And within a couple of days, we were able to raise her star rating back to a legit level. And the idea is over time just to bury the heck out of that negative review with positive, real, authentic patient reviews.
So the real antidote to a bad review is far more good reviews to push it down the stack and fix the star rating.
Exactly.
And I
tell our doctors, like, you know what, as long as you have a plethora of positive reviews, it doesn't matter if we get the inevitable disgruntled employee, negative Nancy left us a bad review. Who cares? Because we have so many positive reviews that it almost makes those real positive reviews look more authentic. And so, so as long as we've got a system in place like Praze, where we're continually gathering reviews from our patients, there's no need to ever worry or be concerned about a bad review.
That's great. Now, you talked about setting a goal for the number of reviews. How many reviews should a practice have? Isn't it just about gathering as many good reviews as you can?
Totally. Yeah, typically, it kind of depends on your area, right? So if you live in a populated area where maybe there's an office down the street that has like 450 reviews, then in that case, we would want to compete with that person on a review level and get more reviews than that office, right? The whole idea and goal is to, if you were a patient and you did a Google search for a dentist in your area, you want to have the most and best reviews. Really that simple. As a rule of thumb, typically if we can help a practice get 300 or more positive reviews, they're going to be kind of that most trusted go-to dentist in that area, and that's our goal.
I would imagine so. Yeah, I would imagine. So you set a goal for the doctor. Obviously, the goal. So what you're doing is you're basically setting the minimum number he should have. You're Correct. Deciding he needs to have more than anybody else, and here's what the top one already has. So you got to get more than that. But if they reach their goal, do they keep going or do they just back off and?
Yeah. That's a question we often get. It's like, hey, Stuart, well, cool, let's get to 300. But once we get 300, do we have to keep going or are we good to go? And truthfully, you want to continually be gathering positive reviews, just because no one wants to be the Dr. David that, had great reviews up until, say, 2014. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, no reviews are coming in. Patients will wonder what's going on.
What happened?
Each review that's posted, there's a date associated with that review. And so, we just want to make sure that the doctor is always getting fresh positive reviews. And, it's a really simple thing to do as long as you have a system.
Yeah.
I'm always, really impressed with, and I use the example of McDonald's. I can go to McDonald's in LA, New York, out of the country, and I always have that same product and that same McDonald's experience because of their amazing systems, right? It doesn't matter that, the employees maybe don't have that much work experience, because they have these amazing systems. And that's sort of what we consider we consider us the expert, as far as helping a dental practice specifically get reviews.
Fantastic. Yeah. You mentioned McDonald's anywhere being the same. I was in Poland and we went to a McDonald's. Their Big Macs are made out of pork.
Really? Okay.
It's because they were all worried about mad cow disease. This was years ago. But I just found that to be just amazing. Yeah. But for the most part, they still have a Big Mac.
Exactly. It's the same thing, but it is interesting how, when you do go to McDonald's outside of the country, they do have their own little stuff.
They cater to the local tastes, which
that is
I'm sure dentists do to a point as well. Although I know some great dentists all over the world. So if you have any questions for Stuart, go ahead and type them into the question box. We'll try and catch them while we're still live online. If not, like I say, we will get the answers back to you just as soon as we can. Once again, any questions, we'd be happy to answer. In the meantime, if you would like to get in touch with Stuart and talk about what this might do for your practice, you can contact Stuart at the email address or the phone number below. He will be more than happy to take good care of you. Don't you dare forget to tell him that you heard him on Mr. Cashflow Live.
Right.
Higher and brownie points with my friends, that's important to me. So, all right, I guess what it boils down to, Stuart, is from my experience working with over 400 dental practices nationwide, doctors love to grow. They don't like to spend money. What does this cost?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got a couple of options. The range is basically $149 a month to $249 a month.
What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, so we've got a plan where if you pay monthly, we charge $249 a month. If you pay for the year up front, you get a 20% discount. So that kind of breaks down to like $199 a month. And then if you pay for 2 years up front, we break it down to $149 a month. So a little less than $3,600 for the 2 years. It's a cash flow thing, man. You get the cash flow.
I get it. I get it. They're all into cash flow too. And I can help you raise the cash flow in order to be able to afford Stuart's inexpensive service. Did you ever figure out, Stuart, for a general dental practice, like what is the value of one new patient over the course of the year? When you look at it that way and how many patients it can bring in, this is really inexpensive.
Super inexpensive. I've heard really numbers all over the board. And so I don't even want to, claim one is, but I've heard everything from like a new patient to a practice is like $600 a year to $1,800 a year,
Especially if you bring in a family.
Exactly.
Mom or dad is doing the review checking, if they come, the rest of the family's coming too.
Right.
And you do well, you keep them forever.
Yeah, I mean, literally, and of course I'm biased because this is my world. I've seen how, how much practices grow when they literally have the most and best reviews in their town. It's crazy, but it's literally the lowest bearing fruit to market your practice and arguably the best possible thing you can do for a marketing ROI perspective. I mean, even for practices that are a little bit later in their career, we work with a lot of doctors that are getting ready to retire, and they like to work with Praze because they want to generate a bunch of positive reviews so that when they go to sell the practice, they can have that nice little cherry on top and say, hey, by the way, buyer, we're also the highest rated dental practice in our community. And so for that, they're able to charge a premium oftentimes.
That's got to make a huge difference.
Yeah, so it's amazing long-term investment for the practice.
Fantastic. All right, fantastic. So essentially, if you want to grow your practice, if you want to build your trust, Google reviews is the way to do it. I'm working very, very hard in my business and for some of the other businesses that I represent to build Google reviews because I've seen what it's done in the one that I really focused on. And so we're focusing on some other ones. But for a medical or dental practice or an oral surgery practice where patients are gold, I mean, that's what you've got. That's your stock and trade. You need to build up your Google reviews. And I've told many practices this, but I never had a good way to tell them how to do it other than just ask, and send them a link or give them a piece of paper or a card with a link on it where you can go give them a Google review. So this, I think, is a fantastic option. It's inexpensive. You got to be doing great guns. I have a feeling you'll be doing Praze for a long, long time. I love the name too. I really do.
I appreciate
any
that.
last words you want to share with folks before we cut out and get back to business? Now would be the time to do it.
Yeah, just one thought. We mentioned oral surgeons that came to mind. We've worked with a ton of oral surgeons, and we love working with oral surgeons. They're great to work with, and we've had a lot of conversations with them, and it seems like a common pain point for them that we've been able to help them solve is there's all of these general dentists that are stealing these oral surgeons' cases, claiming to be oral surgeons, and really they don't have the qualifications, but they're doing these certain cases. And so we help oral surgeons really stand out and showcase their next level of expertise by getting more and better positive reviews specifically about what they do. And so I invite any oral surgeons, that are potentially listening to also consider, checking us out and booking a free demo and seeing if we could, work together. It'd be great.
Super. That's great. Once again, just before we wrap it up, if you want to contact Stuart, get that free demo. It's worth checking out. Contact him at stuart@praze.com or at the 888 number that's on the screen. He will take care of you. And if he doesn't, you tell me, and I know where to find him.
That's right. We'll
tell him Mr. Cashflow sent him when you talk to him, and then he'll take real good care of you. I promise. Stuart, I want to thank you for joining us. Great to have you on today. I have a feeling we will be talking in the future with. I will be referring some of my clients directly to you because I know the ones that are looking to grow, and I know the ones who are looking to build their reputation. They should all be looking to build their reputation. But I thoroughly appreciate you joining me on this call, and we will be in contact very, very soon. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it, man.
If you would like a free, no cost, no obligation cash flow checkup to evaluate the ways that we can improve your cash flow, feel free to email me or call me at any time. You can contact me at this email address. I will take some time with you, interview you about your practice, and come up with a game plan for you. Whether you choose to follow that game plan or not, totally up to you. There is no cost for my service, but I would be more than happy to help you. I have been involved in the business of dentistry and the business of oral surgery for more years than I care to admit, since 1989. If you are an oral surgeon and you're watching this, I wanted to let you know that the AMOS National Conference that's coming up in Nashville in September and October, there will be a really, really good speaker. Well, there'll be a bunch of really good speakers, but there will be a really good speaker at that conference. That's me. I will be there on October the 1st, early in the morning. Please, if you're going to be at the AMOS conference in Nashville, stop by and say hello and introduce yourself to me. And let me know you saw me on Mr. Cashflow Live. We're going to be talking about maximizing collections in the oral surgery office. We're going to talk about things that you can do in the office to collect more money from patients, to avoid having to use expensive collection agencies, and what your options are. I would love to see you there, and I would love to meet you. Join me every week, well, hopefully every week, on Wednesday for another episode of Mr. Cashflow Live. Your bottom line will thank you for it. And one last thing, until next week, as always, I'm David Weiner. They call me Mr. Cashflow from Cashflow Strategies Incorporated After all, it's your money. Keep more of it.